Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Manchester United Agenda. It is the 21st of January today. I'm very lucky to be joined by Canny this evening. Mr. B is running a little bit late. He's currently charging around Wembley in his van. If you've seen Gladiator, when no, it's not Kurt Russell. Who's in Gladiator?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. You know that bit where he like fights? He does. I think it's they recreate the Battle of Carthage. And anyways, he's just flying about on a white horse. Mr. B is doing the equivalent in his van.
In his van.
Yeah. So he'll be popping in to see us shortly, and it's no real surprise that tonight the three main stories are four main stories actually. We've got Amorim smashing stuff up. We've got hang on, Mr. Look at this.
Is Mr. B in the
Like,
chat?
yeah, eyes on the road, Mr. B. 20 minutes away and he's texting. This is a good teammate, Cammy. Like he's checked to see if the show was started.
It shows, yeah, that's good.
He's just gone straight over a roundabout like Evil Knievel. So we've got Amrin, which I'm going to save for Mr. B.
Yeah,
We've got Garnacho, we've got Rashford, and we've got Dorgu.
absolutely.
Now,
Okay.
has anything else happened today?
It's those are the main stories we're having hovering around Manchester news, I think, for now. The other stories are a bit, they've kind of fizzled away with who we're trying to get. I think it's only the main Garnacho story in Rashford that's coming. That's coming in.
All right, should we see who we have in the house then?
I think everybody. I think everybody else is glued to the Champions League, maybe, or we're glued. So we had a gap in news.
Yeah, I mean, like our chat are
Stephanie.
100% glue sniffers. And the number one is Steph. How you doing, Steph? We got Ajmal. I hope you're doing well this evening. That's a good one, Bilal. Ruben was the one who broke the big screen in town back in 2008, where he's referring to like we got Rangers this Thursday, Canning. And do you remember what happened in was it the European Cup Winners' Cup?
No, with Rangers
Yeah.
against Rangers. No. Can you
No.
refresh
It was
my-
held in Manchester,
Yeah.
and Rangers fans. There were over 200,000 Rangers fans, and they destroyed Manchester. Like they
Oh my
absolutely
goodness.
destroyed it. The print works got shut down. They ram raided Boots. It was like Lord of the Rings out there. It was incredible, and we really hope that we don't have similar scenes
Yeah.
this weekend.
Yeah.
Strength and honour settings. Look, it's with better. Honestly, we've got to sort this thing out at some point.
No, Alf, man, I'm done. I don't even know what to say. I've just ignored that person. I don't know what they have with me. Everywhere I go, they just bring these. It's just like a hatred that going around. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, but that's something that we can
Yeah.
sort. I know he's done it in public, but those are the sort of things we
Yeah.
sort out in private.
Yeah.
All right, double A. Rafinha over Anthony. Has Rafinha scored to make it 5-4?
I don't know. Let me see the update screen. Rafinha has been really, really good. What a rejuvenation of his
Oh, he's
career,
good at Leeds.
He's
He was a good player at Leeds
he was a good
United.
player at Leeds as well, yes. You know. But didn't he go to China? Because I thought that was it for him when he left. Did he went to a lesser league before going back to Barcelona, right?
I don't know. I think you're referring to a
I'm
player that
referring to
played for
Paulinho.
Tottenham.
No. I'm
Yeah,
referring. Yes. Okay, yeah, I mistook the two with Paulinho and Rafinha. Rafinha left Leeds and went straight to Barcelona, right?
yeah.
Okay. No. I thought they were the same person. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Dennis and Canny, not a normal pairing. We've me and Canny have been on together loads of times, just not on
Yeah.
this channel. We had a big fight with a coach about a week ago about what a rest defence was. It was absolutely crazy. It was, honestly,
That
it
was
was like an archaeologist arguing if dinosaurs existed.
absolutely. And no, he actually he had you on his radar. He just came in. I saw in the chat like, bring me on. You're like, okay, let's bring him on. And he came in. I'm a coach, by the way. I was
Yeah.
like,
All
oh, here
right,
we
look, the
go.
guy's not. He's not here to defend himself, but let's just
Yeah.
say it didn't go
It
very
was
well
it
for
was
him.
funny though. It was funny. Now no malice to it. It was just a hilarious moment.
All right, well, we've got Drayton Manor's finest in tonight because it's Damien Walsh. Sad that United are selling Garnacho, one of our better players. I think he'll get better and better and be worth a lot of money in 3 years. We'll get on to Garnacho after we've done our hellos, Damien, but I'm kind of in your camp and kind of not. I don't really know where I stand. Bath time, you see how one of the goalkeepers come back from loan, the keeper you thought wasn't real? Did I say one of our keepers wasn't real? That sounds like something I would say. No, I haven't seen it.
Does he exist? Which keepers come back from loan?
I don't know.
Who did
Who
you
was
have?
that? Double A. Tell me who's come back on loan. Right. Yeah, Rafinha was good at Leeds. Hello, Danny B. Big up yourself.
Yep.
11 likes, 14 people watching. God, that's pretty good for us.
Yep.
No, archaeologist, not gynecologist.
He's at Stephanie.
All right, let's talk about Garnacho, Canning. Where do you stand on this? Because the latest news, right, is that we've lowered our asking price to 65 million euros, which I'm going to guess is like 57 million pounds, something like that. And it looks like it's probably going to happen. What are your what are your feelings around this transfer?
I'm not I'm not in support of the sale of Garnacho at this time in January when the transfer market is almost closing without a guaranteed replacement. I feel as though there are other players that we could have put more of the energy to offload rather than one of our like good talents and younger players and looking at the ceiling that he has. And the price reduction just starts to scream a cry for money from our owners. It doesn't seem to be a footballing decision in my opinion. So I'm totally against it. I don't understand why you would reduce the price. Garnacho first of all, he's a Puskas winner. He plays in the Premier League. He's a goal scorer. He creates here and there now, but he's a really good player whose ceiling is we don't know. Sky's the limit. So for you to reduce your price to 65 million, I think he's well worth 70 million if we just have patience and sell him properly. Maybe in the summer, if we're trying to offload him, if Amorim agrees to say that he doesn't want him in the team, I would agree with that. But the way I'm seeing things, Amorim seems to want him in the team. He's playing him. How could he be playing a player that's about to leave? You know. So for me, I just see it as more of a Ineos move in order to generate fans. And that's where the big question is now. Is this a footballing decision or is just pure finances we're speaking here?
All right. Well, we got some comments on it. This is something that Mr. B said to me last night as well. That I keep saying it's going to happen. We need some sort of forfeit if it doesn't. That bit Mr. B didn't say. Suggest a forfeit, Andrew, if this is the sort of thing that you like. Because I'm unlikely to do it. I mean, we're adults and stuff. I have seen a lot of transfers over the years, and this seems to me to be a classic transfer that is going to get done. Like they're meeting, the player has spoken to the manager. I can't see this not happening unless unless we get a sort of fax machine like with David De Gea style
David De
thing.
Gea
Yeah, this one actually, I think is more likely. I
era.
think that Rashford might stay, but we'll get into that. We got the Yorkshire Cowboy with his potty mouth. Change the bag of shite in the nets first. Everything else is second to have a goalkeeper who's actually a goalkeeper. When we talk about Amorim, when Mr. B gets here, Yorkshire, because sorry, Cowboy. We're not on first we're not on first name
Yeah, you know, the
basis.
first name basis. It's Mr. Yorkshire the Cowboy. The
Yeah.
Yorkshire Cowboy. Sorry. Yeah, go.
Mr. B is a manager, and I'm not,
Mm,
and I think that whatever was said in that changing room, some of it has got to have been directed towards Anana, and I would think I don't want to like leapfrog I would think that Amarin has very very little faith in his goalkeepers, and
mm.
would like us would probably like a change. All right, goodbye, Canny. It's
Oh my
Emma.
God.
It's nice to see you back again, Emma. I don't see the logic in selling Garnacho if Rashford and Anthony are to go to. We
I
will
don't know what
risk
happened.
needing players. Just well, you're back now, so it's fine. Yeah, do you think, Kelly? Do you think that this is too much churn in the January window, like Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho, and then I'm sure Casemiro and Ericsson, if offers came in, would go as well. Are we cutting ourselves too thin?
Yes, it doesn't make sense if we don't have replacements because our squad is already thin as it is. We lost Scott McTominay. Of course, Ogati was there, but we lost Scott McTominay. We lost quite a few players that we needed replacing, and we completely replaced. And if we lose three other players in the January window, we don't have how many weeks is left? Is it 1.5 weeks left? Maybe a little over 1.5 weeks left before
It's 10 days.
10 days. Yes, so that means that we will not be able to bring in 3 to 4 replacements. Have we identified them? Do we have the finances to bring them? Everything doesn't add up. So I feel as though it's really, really not a good decision to let go such a huge number. I'd say three is a huge number, yeah, but of players when we need players in. I think if we if we were to dedicate one player in order to replace him quickly with a position that we need, say in the left wing back where we lack in dire need of a player there, or or a 10, or somebody to help us score, because those are the positions I've identified that we really need. Number one would be the left wing back. We need a natural left wing back that can come in there and do a job. Who have we identified? We already lost Nuno. Is they're too expensive. We lost other players that we identified in Mwani. So I'm not hearing any players that we're being linked to that will come and fill in these positions that we identified as the
What
positions
about
that.
Dorgu?
Yeah, but that dog was a good. I mean, he's a natural left back, so I wouldn't mind him. But to the expense of which player? The expense of Rashford, yes, because Rashford is the one that went and said he wants to leave. Rashford is the one that seems not to have his head in football. We should have concentrated on that signing, that transfer, sorry, so that it can help us facilitate a transfer that will fill a position that we need filling. Instead of now we have two players, we're losing Garnacho clearly, like to quote you, it's definitely going to happen. So I feel as though we're not really operating smartly in this window. It might leave us very desperate towards the other part of the season
All right, I'll tell
if
you
we
what.
don't manage.
I'll
Yeah.
address those points after I finish with the comments because
Okay.
it's late and people are waiting to brush their teeth.
Yeah.
And cake there, if you eat as much cake as I suspect, you will definitely need to brush your teeth and floss. But you are sad and devastated to see Garnacho leaving. just so we can overpay for a left back. Absolutely shameful from United. Small club mentality at its best. All right, we'll talk about that, but I get the impression that you're not happy. 65 million to 75 million with add-ons, or piss off. All right. So, Danny, you're all right with the sale. It's the price that you're not happy with. Bilal, he's been looking at his atlas today. Italy's close to Spain. Bring back Vitek from loan. I don't really care about a left back, not at the expense of Garnacho. Oh yeah, I forgot that he was playing for Benfica tonight. And yeah, shortage of strikers.
Who was playing?
Yes, Gary.
Was it our player, our left back, our former left back?
Well, yeah, you could make the argument that he's on loan because we have a buyback clause which is rumoured to be about 16 million, and as like Danny B is saying here, Dorgu, the fee is likely to be around 30 to 35 million pounds. So why
I'd
are we
go
paying?
for Alvaro. Absolutely.
Well, we'll see about it. But all right, first of all, let's sort out the Garnacho stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of this is about money because the club's on its knees with money at the moment. I mean, like even who is it today? Robson, Cole, Irwin, all getting pay cuts. I don't think the club want to be doing these sort of things, but they have to because we've had incompetent leadership for a very, very long time. You know, I'm going to lay it on the feet of Ed Woodward for some of the crazy stuff he's done. And even now, I see a slight difference where Dorgu's agent is in Manchester today. And traditionally, we make we do our negotiations down in Mayfair.
Okay.
That's where Ed Woodward likes to hang out, you know, and go to the Ivy and so on. But so I like it that it's being done in Manchester and that like Ineos are sort of in and around the club. Look at this. Mr. B has finally joined us. He's dressed as, looks a bit like Freddy Krueger tonight. I hope he's not a nightmare.
He's on.
We'll get he'll join. Okay. Yeah, it is. Look at that. Freddy Krueger stripes.
You're an idiot. What's happening? What's happening? Sorry about my tardiness.
Hey.
I did hear your explanation. Yeah, we'll stick with that one, bath time.
All roads lead to Rome.
Something like that.
We're talking about Garnacho.
Right, I heard you.
So Canny was saying
Just a quick one. Just a quick one, bath time. Mr. B,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
I'm good, bruv. I'm always good, man. I'm always
Bath
good.
time. Bath time threw me off. In case you're wondering why I'm wearing a check shirt, he tells me, I was this close to falling for it. He tells me today we're wearing as farmers, just so you know. That's the dress code. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, farmers. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to... We're wearing... Then until like...
I said smart agricultural.
Small agriculture. So my head was like, okay, we're going farmers. Right? So I stood there, I was like, what am I going to wear? Like, oh my God. So I was like, anyway, farmers always wear check shirts, right? I don't have a dungaree.
I can't. Bath time doesn't even show his face, and you're worried about.
That's what made me realize. Oh my God, he's playing with me.
Oh Jesus Christ, man!
I had to share that. I was laughing. I've been holding it back time. I'll be like, I can't wait till Mr. B come here so I can address this thing.
I think it's a very strong look on you, Canny. You're perfect as a left back in France or something. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's something I completely forgot. I sent you a dress code for the evening.
Oh
God,
Jesus, man!
All right.
God,
Yeah. No. Yes. Emma and Canny were both saying that they think getting rid of Rashford, Anthony, and Garnacho it's going to spread the squad too thin. And my kind of response is thin for what? Like, I don't think that we're going to win anything. like we're likely to sort of qualify from Europa League thing and go into the knockouts, I believe. But we're not winning it. We're not winning a cup, I don't think. And I don't think that it will make a huge difference. Like I think that I'm going to be wildly optimistic and say 9th is the highest that we can finish. When really I think it's 10th or 11th. So saving money now means that we can spend more in the summer. And I think that that's the approach that Ineos will be taking. That like it's really about looking after the pennies at the moment. And if we do go and do a big outlay without selling Garnacho and getting that FFP, who do you think's going to pay for it? It's going to be the fans. They're going to squeeze us more. The ticket prices are going to go up. Like, MUTV subscriptions are going to go up because, we're going to have to subsidise it. So I'm all right with Garnacho going because I don't want to pay any more money.
I was always happy with him going. I have no problem with his going. But you're right about the 3 players leaving. The fact that Garnacho and Rashford play in the same position, we sort of knew before Amorim came in that those were probably the 2 that couldn't work in his system, and it's proved to be right. Anthony going is a no-brainer. He was in every squad, but he wasn't getting much more than 30 seconds game time anyway. I don't think they're going to be missed. I don't think Garnacho will be missed for us. I don't think Rashford's definitely not going to be missed for us. My issue is if we get players in. If he gets a left-sided wing back in, then who does that free up position-wise? Mazraoui? Does it free up? It frees up Dalot. Where's Dalot going to end up playing then? He's not
probably
going to be
right
playing.
back.
All right. Well, so how much defenders do we have? As in what? Right midfield? As in right wing back? And then he moves. And then he moves Ahmad into the position that we feel that Ahmad should be playing in.
Well, I personally think Ahmad is better as a wing back, but from what you've seen from team selections, is that he really, really wants him in the number 10.
See, I'm not sure. I think we need 2. I think we need 2 players for half time. I think we need 2. I think 2. If we lose 3, 2 definitely need to come in. We weren't playing one of them anyway, so it's no great shakes. But I think we need 2 coming in, whatever position.
Would you take a loan?
Yeah, I would take a loan. But it has to be somebody who's going to be half decent. I have no problem taking loans. I have no problem getting 2 loans in, to be fair. As long as these players have been playing, they haven't been sitting down, not getting any game time, and then we have to try and get them fit, which is going to take a month. No, I want somebody who's actually been playing. All right, they might not have played the last couple of games, but up until, recently, their fitness levels are a level that the club can deal with. I'll take loans, absolutely no problem at all.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because, like, when Ugarte came in, he was nowhere near like the physical level, so we had to wait. Like, it was almost an entire international break before he started coming out normally. But I just want to do the comments before I get to you, Canny, on this. You can choose to answer this if you like, but Bilal is a nosy Parker, and he wants to know more about you.
I'm from the farms of Southern Africa. I'm a Southern African farmer. That's about it.
So, Cake is saying that if we buy Dorgu, we're not going to make a profit on him, but Napoli are likely to make the profit on Garnacho, which basically sort of he's strongly inferring, in my opinion, that we can't really develop players anymore.
Okay, I want to ask you, if Garnacho goes for 60 million,
right?
Now, if we get a sell on, nobody's too bothered. Is that what the situation is? They just feel that the price is too low. Because how much? I mean, look, we're saying Garnacho's ceiling is high. There's a lot of players who don't reach the ceiling that we expect them to reach.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this the other night. I laughed at Frank Lampard, laughed at him when he bid 40 million for Anthony Gordon. And Anthony Gordon is now, I mean, you could argue he's an 80, 90 million pound player. He's definitely a 60 million pound player. But there are loads of players that have potential, and we've kind of done it the other way around with Euro, where we've signed a player for almost 60 million pounds, hoping that he's going to turn into one of the best centre backs in Europe. But do we develop players? Probably not.
So do you think Amorim is the type of manager to be able to develop players?
Yes, but it's whether we have the sort of like the groundwork to do it, if we have the facilities, if we have the time, because like you have to win at Manchester United. It's not Brighton, it's not Dortmund, it's not Sporting. I think are now a big club in Portugal, but that you can give a player to run a game. You give them 4 or 5 games, and if they don't perform, there's not going to be riots and so on. But at Manchester United, it's essentially the work's got to be done in the academy, and they've got to be like pretty much ready to go. They just need the experience, and that's why we have loans. Like, Kenny, what do you think?
Yeah, on the Garnacho, for me, I Amorim has been here like 2 months now. When was he appointed? 1st of November, right? Somewhere there when he got into the job. One of the players that who he's showing that he's willingly to work with is Garnacho. And you can see Garnacho's game changing recently with sort of instructions from Amorim and him adjusting. I like the comment when Amorim said, no, he's now seeing himself as a different person in a different light. You can see there's been discussions there, and there's a strong feeling that Amorim is reluctant to let go of Garnacho because he sees him as a player he can use. So for me, if I'm backing Amorim right now with whatever decision he's making. I don't want us to make decisions based on finances. I feel like he's being told to work while they're tying his hands. I think
Yeah.
yes, I think they could do better when trying to get rid of the other players that he's
Who
more
though,
willingly to
Cammy?
let go.
I heard you saying
Pardon?
this, Cammy. I heard you saying this when I was listening to it on the way in.
Mm.
Who else could we sell? I mean, you can't sell players that nobody wants.
But like Rashford, if we had concentrated, if Ineos had concentrated on just getting rid of Rashford,
How
since
though? Any more than they've got his brothers. Bath time said his brothers probably not used to having to negotiate
Yeah.
deals like proper agent deals, agent talk, agent swacker. The poker face in certain situations.
mm,
Maybe he's in awe of the people who he has. I mean, look, he's going to be sitting down having to talk to Zlatan and Maldini at AC Milan for God's sake. I mean,
mm,
maybe he's not that guy. We're talking about pushing Rashford even more than we were pushing him. Well, we hadn't played him. We made it obvious that he wasn't going to play. He knew what the deal was from when he gave his interview. So I'm not sure how much more they could have, other than saying, all right, let him go, and we'll pay all of his wages.
mm,
It makes no sense. I
We
don't see.
don't have a Nike sponsor either, do we?
a
Oh yeah, it's
Nike.
Adidas. Yeah, it's Adidas.
Yeah,
Isn't
we're
it?
Adidas. So
We have Adidas.
Rashford's a Nike athlete. So if we were sponsored by Nike, we could maybe assign someone from Nike to represent Rashford. But the argument that we've been making, Canny, is that a bit like Harry Kane, Rashford is represented by his brother, and he knows very little, in my opinion, about how to conduct transfers in Italy and
Yeah.
things like that. And so I think that the Rashfords thought it was going to be pretty easy to move Marcus to Real Madrid or Barcelona or somewhere like that. And they, like, what's he called? Kyle Walker has like gazumped him at AC Milan at the age of
Crazy.
35.
Crazy.
So it's like when you say like we should have focused on moving Rashford out, what would that be practically? Because does that mean us going to the clubs and doing the deal? Because that doesn't happen in football anymore.
No. I just, yeah. Anyway, you're right. You're right. Probably his representatives are not doing a
You
good
just
job
don't
at
want
it.
you. I know you
But
just don't want Garnacho to go. I know. And
no, Mr. B, there's a caveat here. I don't mind him going. If what I fear, I think what I'm not even saying the most is that I feel as though we are letting go of a player and we haven't yet put the foundation of who's coming in, who's replacing him,
But
while
how
the
do you know? I
transfer.
mean, look, the thing is, they
Mm,
couldn't until a sales gets confirmed. They can't do anything. You know, maybe there's things lined up in the background. I mean, you know, Steph was always talking about dominoes. Maybe that's going to be the first
So
part
is
because
Simon.
there you go. See, dominoes. So I really he's talking about. I'll see that pizza. Right, I got you. I didn't see you message. Yeah, I think maybe this is going to be the start. I don't know how much time they've got. As Anthony's gone, right? Is
uh,
that a
I
definite?
think
Is
it's
that
nearly done.
it's
okay? Not
nearly
quite.
done.
He's in.
Okay,
He's in Spain, so it's essentially done.
done.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Mm,
like,
And
well,
how
it's
much
not
days do
done,
we
but it's
have?
essentially done.
Third of
10.
February.
10 days.
Yeah.
What do you mean 3rd of February? Is that when the transfer window
Yeah,
shuts?
3rd of February transfer window shuts.
Okay, so 14 days, I think.
So
14
then.
days. We've
14
got 2
days,
weeks. We've got 2
2
weeks.
weeks. Mm.
2 weeks today. Oh, I don't want to have to do a effing midnight transfer show
Oh,
about
well,
Marcus Rashford.
I have no. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll draft somebody in for that.
Mm.
Yeah. Draft someone. Yeah. We've also got 20 people watching, and I think that me and Mr. B are about to have a big fight about what happened at the weekend. So, like and subscribe, because we'll have a cool down session with Dorgu, because I've actually watched some highlights of him. But the big story, originally leaked by a Twitter account called United Menace. And then confirmed by, I think it was Whitwell, wasn't it, in The Athletic? Amorim went absolutely crazy, smashed the TV up, lots and lots of shouting. But according to this United Menace guy, and I don't put a huge stock in Twitter and stuff like this, but as I was saying to Mr. B yesterday, I've followed this guy for 6 or 7 months. He's never wrong. He's quite clearly friends with someone at the club or... Yeah, like he said that tables were going up in the air and one of the players started crying. Before we start, does anyone doubt that player was Rasmus Højlund?
Let me see. He's a Den. He's a Viking. Can a Viking cry over some words?
It just Rasmus. I'm trying to. Who's the weakest? Who would he really have lit
Rasmus,
up?
he cries when he scores a goal. Like, do you remember Rasmus's new celebration?
That just kills it for me. It's gotta be him. If he
It was
cries when he scores a goal.
Do you remember that against Aston Villa? Like, he scored the goal against Villa and he was like
That was his
almost
first one. That
crying.
was his first one or the first
Yeah.
one in ages or something. Yeah,
After 16 games.
Yeah.
16 game
Who's-
drought.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, here's a question for you. Rasmus Højlund has a trademark goal celebration. Who can remember what it is?
The leg, there's the banjo, I think.
That was last season. He's got a new one this season.
Yes,
That really shows, doesn't it, that none of you can
Yeah.
remember what it is.
oh shit!
It's
The gladiator.
The gladiator.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my! It's been so long.
It couldn't stick. It fizzled off quickly, you know.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah. So who else do you think could be? Okay, Rasmus. But since you mentioned the goal and crying, I'm also gonna now
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Rasmus.
yeah, I always look at Rasmus and think he's a crier. Cake is saying it's probably a Nana. Steph is saying Weggy, Weghorst would have flooded the changing room. Man, they'd have all drowned if it had been Özil. The size of his eyes, man. And Sotti is saying that Canny's on point. All right, let's start off with this. Mr. B, you're a manager. Have you given hairdryer treatments to your players?
On more than one occasion.
And you're 100% behind Amorim going absolutely mental. You think it's the right way of dealing with stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if he's always shouting, if it's something that he always does, then there's going to be no effect. Because it's just we've heard it all before. But by all accounts, he tends to leave the dressing room quietly, and analyze the game straight afterwards. So this sounds like it was something completely different to them. Maybe he had just been waiting for his opportunity to light them up. But I have absolutely no problem. I mean, you know me already. I think all these players are all pussies anyway, mentally. This is the chance to see who rises and who falls. At the end of the day, you're right. We're not going to win nothing. I really want us to win the Europa League, but maybe that's because the only tournament that we're in. You know, that I think that we're capable of winning. Beginning of the season, I probably wouldn't have said that Europa. We would have won it, but now it's more a desperation thing. I'm 100% behind him lighting up the players. I think sometimes things need to be done, and as I said, it's gonna sort the wheat from the chaff. Those players who are mentally strong will take it in their stride, and the ones who aren't, as he said, they can F off.
Cammy, what are your thoughts? Like, have you ever like sort of been in a group bollocking before?
Yeah, I for me, I think it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I don't think even Eric Ten Hag did it. I think this whole started with I think Mourinho did it. Mourinho must have been the last one that was even close, maybe to lighting up a dressing room accordingly, because when you look at the time when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer replaced Mourinho, it all became just now friendly faces, happy smiles. I think that also made everything worse. The players needed something like this. They needed somebody to show them that they're not going to go down on their account, on their lack of commitment. And I think this might wake them up. I would support, I would be with Amorim on this. These players need to be spoken to frankly, and I think they don't get it enough. They are babied. They're just millionaires who are babies on who are being pampered. Actually, that's the word I'm looking for. They've been pampered all seasons, and we need to be frank. We need to show that I don't, and coming from the manager, that's the right person. I don't condone, obviously, fans and whatnot attacking players outside and talking. That's not cool. It has to be done in the correct manner. And the person that has to say or has to flow, like in the words of Stephanie, as Mr. B would throw a flamethrower, should be Amorim. and
Yeah,
I
but that's
thought,
also a joke that he's bold.
my God, it's a multi-layered joke. I missed that.
Oh, you're full of
Yeah.
shit, half time.
No, don't shoot the messenger. I've got a couple of issues with what Amorim has done, and I think first of all, talk you through what happens in the dressing room fight. Mr. B will come in and will shout at everyone. He'll kick stuff over, and you're not really allowed to answer back. Sometimes you do, but it's normally the inexperienced players who do that, unless you know every argument is an iceberg.
And then the person who opens their mouth is the one
Yeah.
who gets it again. Yeah.
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 But then the manager goes off and you leave the players to do it. And a player stands up and you have a massive fight. Like, I've been in this situation several times where, like, a senior player, normally, or a captain, or it's for some reason it's always a bloody centre back, stands up and goes, he's completely correct. And then it just gets into the blame game.
Yeah.
And
You were
things
shit. How
like
can
that.
he be correct? And you were the one who gave away that chance in the
Yeah.
blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's in that case, sometimes it's quite good because it's a pressure release and you get a lot of stuff out. Like, I mean, like, it's very unstructured, and you know what it's like. Arguments go all over the place, and you'll find people arguing about things that happened a year ago or something like that, and you're not working hard enough and I should be playing and things. It's really, really messy, and I've only ever seen it work with a team that has been together for 2 or 3 years. Because like it can really split, it can really splinter a team. But that's Mr. B. In your experience as a player and a manager, I think that's just standard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as the thing is, if you care, you'll take responsibility. This is how I saw it as manager now, and when I was a player. When I was a player, man, they're managers who used to play on, especially my Sunday team. He didn't piss about, man. You know, obviously Sunday, you turn up on a Sunday, you've been raving, so you're coming straight from wherever you are. You know, you're smelling of drink or whatever else you were doing the night before. But they expect you to be, you know, a certain condition because you're playing on a Sunday. And I think I think it's harder for Sunday managers because everybody's out on the Raz. Most of them are out on the Raz. You know, and as I said, my younger days, man, I was coming straight there from football. I used to bring my football kit in the car, you know, and leave straight from the rave and go to football. So I think you as a person have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, all right, then I haven't been trying hard enough, or I haven't been, or maybe the softer ones thinking, who the hell does he think he is? He can't be talking to me like that. And they're on the phone to their agent saying, look, get me out of here in the summer. But I think it needed to be said.
Right, this is my issue with it. Right, there's 2 issues that I have with it. Number one is, you brought up Jose. Jose has a hell of a CV, right? I don't know if you like. Jose went and did all that stuff about like see where they play, like if they play, where they play, all that kind of stuff. Jose's like if there's around a Mount Rushmore for football managers in the Premier League, Jose's on it. Like he's got the stats to back it up. Amorim doesn't have it, and like I mean, I remember in the treble year, like this was crazy. Pep went out and bollocked his players and the fans. I've never seen anything like it, and then delivered a treble. But Amorim doesn't kind of have that, and the fact because what he said in the press conference, I'm fairly sure is what was said in the training room, in the dressing room, that you are the worst United team of all time.
Yeah.
I think that he should not have said that in public for one thing. I think that if you repeat what's said in the dressing room, you're looking for problems. And the second.
Sorry, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Well, the reason I don't think you should repeat what's said in the dressing room is the dressing room is like it's like church. It's a holy place. It's like the confessional booth. Like nothing should be coming in. Nothing should be going out. Like if there's a fight in the dressing room, it stays in the dressing room, and I think that the players will be pretty shocked that he's basically repeated to the media what he told them. Like, and he's young and he doesn't have a CV, and we've lost a lot of games at home. It's a very risky thing to do. And the second thing is, I much prefer it when you have these discussions the next day in training, where everyone is much cooler.
I think, and this is what he was normally doing. It sounds like he normally did the debrief the day after. So maybe it was a shock. Maybe he did it as a shock thing. Look, you don't win, you don't become a winner being soft. You know, he's used to winning. Obviously he hasn't had the experience of a club like Manchester United, but if he believes that his system works, which he does, and he's definitely not bending. He's definitely not bending. You can see there's no chance he's not playing these 3 at the back. He needs to be backed above. He needs to be backed above so that these players know that all right, he is proper in charge.
I think he knew that beforehand. Like there's been wide reports that after the Southampton game, like he got 20 minutes with Ratcliffe. And it was pretty much about like why am I not getting backed? and Ratcliffe, and they had a chat, but it was basically about get me my players in for the system, and then the next day we're going for Dorgu. So I don't think that was on his mind there. My concern is that if I saw that as a player, I would think that it was a manager cracking, like that he didn't have the answers. It's difficult because I don't know the context of what's going on.
I kind of understand that, but that would only be the players who maybe have doubts in their own. Yeah, but Casemiro's a bag of shit half time.
Yeah, but he's also very, very experienced. And the thing is that players like Garnacho and stuff are not used to this, and you look to people around you to kind of say if this is all right or not. And I would like to think that Bruno and Maguire stood up and said, he's right, Amorim's right. We've been bloody awful, and you'd think that maybe De Ligt is a bit like that, but a lot of these players have been at big clubs and played under sort of big managers and so on, and they will have they'll have seen that, in my opinion, as a bit of a sign of weakness because he's lost control, and then he's gone and repeated it in the press conference.
Okay.
I'm a bit worried.
Do you think the players then feel that they can get Amorim the sack? Because they've done it before.
No.
Okay, so which means then that they would believe then that the board, Ratcliffe has got Amorim's back.
I think that what the players will be thinking is that the club is desperate for money. Like, there's a new system coming in. They might not like the system. They might think the manager has cracked a little bit. They've seen that definitely the relationship between the fans and the clubs is at breaking point. Like when Coley, the man that is behind you, is getting his essentially his pension slashed, a treble winner is having his wages cut. But there was that story about the guy with dementia having his season ticket almost stolen from him to get a couple of day trippers in and so on. Like if you're a player there, I think you think, I just want to get out of this place. And maybe Kenny, I'll do some comments and then we'll come to you on this because you've just been polite, dressed as a farmer down there.
No, I'm enjoying the back and forth. This was I have my popcorns. You just don't see them.
Yeah. And in chat, I think all of you are going to side with Amorim. But tell me if any of you have been slightly swayed by what we've been speaking about, like how you see the situation with a modern manager going mental in the changing room. Right, we've got 16 likes and 24 people watching. Brilliant. We will never know. More speculation. Don't see a problem. Can you lot stop going on about speculation? Because I'm going to shock you. We once had a source at Old Trafford, and then she fucked off. So, I was never allowed to use anything that she told us.
I know, crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Yeah. You just had to wait for it to come out.
I know, it was so annoying. Honestly, there was once where Matt Judge basically stopped us going bankrupt with an emergency loan that they had to get out. It later came out, but we knew about it for 2 weeks. But I was told you can't say that. I should have just said it, gone rogue. But yeah.
Yeah, we could have said allegedly, we would have been all right, no?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? We could have done some nice little insider trading with the share price, I guess. But look, all we have is speculation. We've got Jarvis in tonight in the Tactical Devils, a new Manchester United fan channel that focuses on tactics. I saw his show after the Brighton game. Some interesting ideas on show. So if you like that kind of thing, go there. Got Kate. We lost to Brighton because of basic errors. Our defending was bad, and I don't blame Amorim for losing it. Okay.
You know what? I mean, look, you're saying we lost to Brighton because of basic errors. One was definitely the goalkeeper. But they played better than we did. People are saying basic errors. We had one shot at goal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm with you on this, Mr. B. I think that like what Onana did, that happens in football. Unfortunately, it should only really happen at school or at kindergarten, but it happens. All right, you can't legislate for that. We got caught cold because we're not in the groove of a new system. That when you get a manager in, you change the system, there's always going to be errors like that happening. I think the fact it was one shot on target is what will be sending him crazy. Like all that time that they spend in their tactical periodisation. Do you remember when we talked about the Portuguese training methods, Victor Frade? Like all that time he spent implementing the game model, and Kobe and Agate, man, were absolutely dreadful, never goal side. Like, we didn't look after the ball well. And with a three at the back system, you can't rely on transitions because your width is too far back. Like, and they just weren't following, I think, any of the principles that he laid down. And I think that's where a lot of his anger will be. Because against, who was it where De Ligt did that big sprint? Do you remember, like, we all ran back from, was it Liverpool? We all ran back from a corner. Like there was no intensity.
Was it Arsenal?
Arsenal, thank you. The only time, Candy, we saw intensity like that, I think, was Ahmad tracking back against Matoma from a corner.
Yeah, and that was one player. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As a collective, because he called us. Do you remember he called the team out after Arsenal or Liverpool rather, saying like, "Look, we should be playing like this every week. They've turned up today, but where have they been all season?"
Yeah, but he knew what was coming. I mean, we hoped it wouldn't have been that, but we weren't surprised that it was.
Yeah, but there's a lot of new players. Like, De Ligt, you know I'm not a huge fan of his. 8 managers in 6 seasons. But, like, you know, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Xerxes, Ugarte, like, these guys shouldn't be infected with, like...
Yeah, because they're fresh. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But also, just... It's very easy for rotten apples to affect the good ones. And since we don't have that many good players, have you seen that Mazraoui's form also is going down? He's slowly...
If you don't get a rest, he's played every bloody game. You know what I mean? So now he has to play because of obviously how well he's been playing, and there's nobody else to rotate him. So eventually his form's going to drop off. God bless Ahmad. Come the end of March, he's going to be on his arse because he has to play every game or we're not winning. You know what I mean? Or we're not creating any bloody chances. So they're in a difficult situation. How much players do we need? I'm gonna this January transfer window, even if it's and what positions are you saying
for
that
what?
Well, I'm not gonna say to survive because I think we're gonna be safe. As I said, we're not finished.
Or to help us compete in the Europa.
Yeah, all right. You know what? Yes, all right. We'll go to that one then to help us compete in the Europa. How much players are we needed?
I hate to say it, but I think goalkeeper has got to be something that needs to be changed now. Like, it's too much.
Yeah, you can't play with that. Yeah, you can't. You have no. And the fact that the ball, how football's played, the ball always goes back to the goalkeeper. It gets to the stage where you don't want the ball going back there. So I
hang on. Before we do this, Mr. B, I want to do the comments because I asked them for their thoughts, and I don't want to forget. And we're going to start off with Emma. She thinks Amorim is a guy that will apologise if he thinks he's stepped over the line. And you play football at this level to win. If you're not mad at losing, you're at the wrong place. I think that's a perfectly reasonable argument, but it's. I think there's more to it, Emma. It's like when you have an argument with someone, it's a bit like an iceberg. There's the top and then there's the bottom.
The rest.
And I think that like Amorim is absolutely right to shout at them and all that kind of stuff. But I suspect that he argued the bottom of the iceberg, which I think would have been better to do
in-house,
like in training or something like the next day. And also, we're completely broke. We can't be going around smashing up TVs. Now this is a really, really good point, Simon. Bruno is meant to be our leader, and I like Bruno. I think he's like our best player of the last 10 years or whatever. But he's also the captain of the worst Manchester United team that I've ever seen.
Is that his fault?
Well, I don't really care about captaincy on the football pitch. Like, when I have been captain at clubs, the reason that I was captain is because I'm very organised and that I sorted things out. And you know what I'm like, Mr. B. I like to be on top of stuff. Yeah, like that's why Canny got sent a dress code. Like I messaged Canny at about 6:30 in the morning as well to make sure he was good.
To make sure I was on time.
Yeah.
And
The early
dressed for
bath catches the
occasion.
worm. But what I want from a captain is not like all this nonsense on the football pitch, or shouting and things like that. It's making sure that everyone is on the level in training, like leading by example, making sure people are on it. The captain should run the dressing room and the training ground. And I don't know if Bruno is he doing that. Like that's my question is he enforcing the standards? Like Rashford out getting drunk in Belfast. Like he should be Bruno and Johnny Evans.
But that's not Bruno can't stop him from jumping on his private jet and flying out to have a couple of drinks in Belfast. That's not
Yes, he can by having the culture.
Yeah, but if Rash okay, it seems like Rashford was or thought he was Johnny Big Bollocks in at Old Trafford, the way that he maybe strolled around allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
Bruno strikes me as the ultimate professional.
Yes.
Maybe he thought that maybe he couldn't talk to Rashford, or he did talk to him and Rashford didn't give a shit. I have no idea.
For me, I have a different take with Bruno. I have a love and hate, not really love and hate. Bruno just seems, it frustrates me, of lately, because I'll explain that. Because one, I agree. He's a captain. He should take the lead. He should. But what frustrates me is that I feel as though Bruno sort of he must be a very upsetting person to work with, because sometimes he's no
he's like an arm in it.
Yeah, I've seen him on the pitch trying to always micromanage other players, and that can be very frustrating. Yes, you're the captain, but save it for the dressing room. Just like we're talking about Amorim, certain characters, not all characters are the same. So other people, when you talk to them in public, you either gonna bring the worst or the best. Not everyone is the same. I see players, some of our players, he's talking to them. He's just from making a mistake, 2, 3, 4 mistakes, and passed a whirlwind pass that was going to nobody. But he wants to jump and start micromanaging a player, and they're just literally walking away from him. I'm like, but Bruno, sense of occasion has to be there. If you're the captain, the coach has given a set of instructions. Yes, you can talk to a player, but the way he does it sometimes can be really frustrating if you're his teammate. I don't know if
I can see that.
Yeah,
I do have a. The thing is, right, Canny, is that one of my sort of principles about football is that a manager can prepare you, and you can work all week in training, and it's a bit like. Is it Mike Tyson who said everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face? Yeah. Sometimes on the pitch, as a group of players, you need to solve problems. Like the manager can't come on and tell you, look, it's very basic things. Like if you're 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go, don't play a high line. Just defend deep and get through it and things like that. Like that for me is what the players should be doing. So you need help from people around you. You don't have eyes in the back of your neck, all that kind of stuff. So you do need people to talk to you, to tell you, like, come in or go out and things like that. The issue that he tries his Bruno stuff, it doesn't work. And then a minute later, he's telling off, I think he did it to Jadon Sancho,
Yes,
and Jadon Sancho walked
Yeah.
away from him.
Yeah.
Like, my issue with Bruno is I think that he's got very, very high standards. And I always say he plays like, you know, in Mario Kart, where you get the star and that music goes off and you're invincible. Like, Bruno plays football like that. And I think that's the one, thank you. And so I think if you're telling me that you see Bruno doing something stupid and then he tries to, you know, it's like you watch a guy like driving down the road, he flies over the roundabout, he crashes into the garage, it all goes up in flames, and then it turns out he's a driving instructor. You're not going to listen to him, are you?
You're not.
And that's kind of like how I feel about Bruno.
You think it's got to that stage with Bruno? I mean, I get it because obviously you see, if you're playing a game of football, half time, maybe you as well, Cammy, and you've got a player who's consistently losing the football, it pisses you the fuck off. So maybe it's got, and then he's the one telling you, or with his hands up in the air when you waste a pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe it's a bit of that as well. But it's I don't see there was anybody else who could have been captain at the time when Bruno was given the captaincy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem. There wasn't really anybody else.
This is one thing that I liked about
we had
Amorim.
De Gea. We had De Gea and we had Casemiro. De Gea was a good candidate for captaincy, but we shipped him off. We had De
Because
Gea.
he was playing like Anana's playing now. Bruv, people
last
seem
season,
to forget. People forget what De
No.
Gea did to us these last season at the club.
But he had
Come on,
Mr.
man.
B. Let's-
Don't be
De
blind to
Gea
that.
wasn't a leader, can he?
No. Okay. I understand if he wasn't a leader, but I refuse for you to say De Gea had maybe 4 mistakes in him that we just gave up.
A
He was
match.
bad at distribution. We knew that.
Bruv, he was...
Not a match.
Cammy, please, brother. I understand De Gea was a good goalie, but don't be blinded, please, by how good he was. The last season, he was shit. Everybody was saying, get rid of De Gea. He was making the same mistakes. I can repeat, he was making the same mistakes that Anana is making now. The season that he left.
What was De Gea's for defensive line compared to what Onana has now?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. If you're throwing the ball in the net, it doesn't make no difference what you've got in front of you.
De Gea had Maguire at his prime. Maguire when he was now.
What difference does it make if you're throwing the ball in the net?
That can affect you, Mr. B. But Mr. B, we cannot say this. De Gea left this club with the Golden Glove. De Gea has several players of the season as a goalkeeper.
This is what I'm saying. Pele was a great player. Do you think he could kick a ball now? Oh, God bless him. Maybe I shouldn't have used him as the example because he's passed away. But age catches up with you. And
but goalkeepers prime in their early 30s. Goalkeepers are not like footballers. Yeah, he's doing so.
Why is he playing for Fiorentina?
And he had a year off where nobody was interested in him.
He's not. But he didn't have to have that year off. Let's not judge him now when he's had this year off.
Why did he? But no, was it his chest was too high?
What other footballers have taken a year off? They've gone and travelling around India to discover themselves. Full moon parties in Thailand.
Full moon parties. Come on.
But like, Kenny, right? This is right. I understand your point. Let me give you some stuff. Do you remember? Was it the Sevilla game where that was like the nail in the coffin for De Gea?
The back pass. Yes,
he was dreadful.
It was dreadful. Absolutely, I accept it.
Last season, Onana faced something. Like, do you remember the statistics last season for the amount of shots that were taken at United? It was unbelievable. It was like 18 a game or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that from what we've seen of De Gea in the sort of the last 2 or 3 seasons we were there, that I mean, really, it goes back to when he let a shot in against Ronaldo in the World Cup. He never got back to the level that he was. He was never picked for Spain. He wasn't an elite goalkeeper during that time. And for me, I always wanted him out. I was very, very reticent about getting Onana in because I felt it was too big a change. But the point is that we've got to look at replacing Onana, I think, now, because that back four, or that back three or whatever it is, none of them are going to have any confidence in Butterfingers.
Butterfingers. Absolutely.
All right, I've got a question from Jarvis. Jarvis, this is Manchester United fan channel. If Ten Hag takes over at Dortmund, do you think he'll succeed in the Bundesliga? I mean, I appreciate the question, Jarvis. I just don't really care about what happens in Germany at the moment. We're in 15th
With Eric Ten Hag.
I tell you what. All right. Let's turn it around. Would it be typical if Ten Hag did really well at Dortmund?
I think it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Listen, man, this club it breaks better managers than Ten Hag. So it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me one bit that he went over there and did really, really well.
Oh, I know why he's going to do well over there as well.
Go on.
Someone's put a curse on Harry Kane. Like, someone's got that juju on him, as you say, Mr. B. And Ten Hag's going to lead the Borussia Dortmund revolution and stop Kane getting a league.
Well, it won't be this season. Dortmund have been terrible this year, bro.
All right. Are you Kenny? Are you happy with Amorim?
Oh no, I was just about.
Oh, go on.
I am happy.
Finish
with
your
Amorim.
thought.
I am happy with Amorim, and I think I like that he has a strong character and he's said it bluntly that he's not going to change. You stick to what he knows, and that's what he should do. Because part of the reasons when I lost my hope with the Eric Ten Hag was when he said he can't play the system that we got him here to come and play. So then why are you here for? So I respect Amorim for being strong-willed and saying, I will drill it into them until I'll die for what I know, And that's why I also even support him in him having an outburst in the dressing room, because these people, these players have made good managers get sacked time after time after time, and we've seen it. And most of them are still here outlasting managers. And I just don't want to see Amorim go through the same. And I'd rather much, if he doesn't get backed by Ineos properly in the summer, for his sake, I'd even rather walk just to expose what's happening at the club.
That'd be good for us, but not good for him, because he would find it very difficult to get another job in football, to be honest, if he did something like that. Rich is asking for a poll. A, we don't have the technology for that. B, there's no way of putting in some kind of way of checking if someone has played a minimum of 5 pre-seasons. Because otherwise it's just a popularity contest, and Onana's going to be losing that at the moment. Cake is just off on one. He's well known for being Onana's number one hater. Cake comes from a long line of haters.
Long line of hate.
Yeah, you can trace it back. Who do you think you are? Show they go all the way back to the crucifixion, and one of Kate's relatives was shouting at Jesus.
Crucify!
Oh God, rough time.
Rough time. I swear I'll never get that out of my head.
Yeah, look at this. I'd take any keeper in the Premier League over Onana. Any keeper. Do you know what? I think I agree. Actually, I can't think of a. Maybe that was Spurs.
What? Oh, the one that they had, the one that's injured.
Yeah, Vicario.
Yeah, Sancho's a bag of shit as well.
Sanchez,
Chelsea. Oh my lord, he's poor as well, man.
But look, he still loves you.
Thank you, Kate.
It's all right. Nothing for me and Canny. Jose, Ralph, and now Ruben have exposed the same problem at Manchester United. Thing is Jose's the only one I think that have the reputation to do it. Ralph made those ridiculous comments about open heart surgery, and we've spent £676 million since then. So maybe it wasn't open heart surgery that we needed. Maybe it was addressing other areas, such as like club culture and things like that. But I think we're going wild. We're going way over time. Let's just finish with Dogu or Drogu. I don't even know his name. But I've watched a lot of footage of him today. Have you seen any, Mr. B?
No.
Canny?
No. I'm
Brilliant.
not. For me, I'm an Alvaro Fernandez.
He did.
But
I
I
tell you
think
what. Somebody told me today
get
that
our
he did
player
really
back.
well today. He did well today.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Why would you
think
take?
we should do that.
What would he give us at like left wing back then, Canny?
Alvaro is good going forward. He's a brilliant and he's good at tracking back as well. He's a good defender. But more so, his price tag, his salary is low, and we've got a buyback clause on them that can allow us to bring in other players on the
Yeah,
cheap.
but Canny, man, you don't send accountants out to scout footballers, do you? Like, what?
Yeah.
When you say he's good getting forward, going backwards, do you think he's got the engine to do 30, 40 metre sprints over a Premier League season? Because is he 19?
Yes.
Yeah, 19.
I think he's capable of doing it. He's doing it so well in Benfica, and he was showing that with Manchester. It was a no-brainer. He needed to stay. That's why it was ridiculous for us to let him go when we needed a left back, when all our left backs were injured. I was totally against the sale of Alvaro.
It
It
didn't
broke
make
my
any
heart.
sense.
It didn't make no sense at all.
Can I say
Right,
something?
it-
Maybe because it occurred to you that he doesn't want to come back.
He didn't want to leave, Mr. B. He didn't even want to leave. It's the same thing that's happening with Garnacho. We were trying to gather up money, and he was the only one that was
Yes.
also sellable.
Yeah, it was homegrown money, wasn't
Yeah.
it, to get Agate?
Yes.
But speaking of homegrown money, we've got a super chat from Cake. So my killer robot that I want to buy gets
It's on the way.
it's on the way. It's only £1,200. You can get a robotic dog that like flies around and everything. How much is that dog in the window?
We're sending it to Swansea.
Yeah, we're going to go and get Andrew with it. Thank you very much, Cake. As I always tell you, very appreciated super chats. But like, we'll read your comments and don't feel that you have to send anything. Like, you know, you go and get yourself a nice croissant or something in the morning. Don't worry about us because I'm planning to take over the world with a robotic dog. Yes, McTominay was the other one, but it wasn't just McTominay; it was Maxi Odeyele.
There was a few.
Yeah, we just sold anyone that we could to get it to be able to spend 160 million on Ten Hag, and it is, I mean, that is why my friend Dan lost his job. I think was we gutted the youth. They all went and like. I don't know how Maxi Odeyele is doing, but you can see McTominay is doing extremely well in Italy. You can see that this Benfica boy, Alvaro Fernandez, is tearing it up. Like, it just looks like terrible, like, management. And I agree with you, Candy. We threw the baby out of the bathwater to sign Ugarte, who I don't think is... I don't think Ugarte is anywhere near the standards of a Champions League midfielder. There's too many issues in his game. But Dogu, like, look, we've got Jarvis coming in. Yeah, I looked at his YouTube today, and I was very disappointed with his heading technique. To be honest,
That's the one thing that you were disappointed with. Yeah, everything else is all right. Yeah.
well, it's kind of like it's really difficult to like sort of look at a player from a different league in these like little snapshots and see how they're playing football, because not only have you got the person making the compilation, they don't know what they're talking about, do they? They'll just show a dribble or something, and 90% of football is off the ball. Like, I don't know how Lecce play, but I can tell you that Lecce are 1 point off the relegation zone.
Yeah,
in Italy.
On bottom, isn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he can't be that great a defender. I can tell you that from what I've seen, is that he he relies a lot on slide tackles, which you know I don't like. He goes to ground very easily. He's got some good dribbling stuff. He looks like he's a good ball striker. But the thing is that you can say this about so many players. Put them in the Premier League and see how they get on, because it's a different, it's just a different level. Look at Pogba. That man dominated Serie A with his physique. He came to the Premier League and he just got absolutely beaten up every match. Jarvis thinks he's too young and inexperienced to step in and make an immediate impact, especially without a nurturing environment to support his development. I think that's a good point, actually. When we signed these players, Canny, when we brought Sancho in for 70 million, it was crazy to me that at Dortmund, he basically had a babysitter in
crazy, isn't it?
The big Viking, Haaland, at Man City. Haaland was basically his sort of buddy who made sure that he was going to training, that he had a lift and all these kind of things. If we do get Dorgu in, are we just going to dump him in Manchester and go look, that's the Tesco, here's the Printworks, Rashford will show you Deansgate, enjoy. Do you think that we're in a good environment?
You mentioned this last time. Sorry to cut you off. You mentioned this some shows, previous shows, where you talked about Garnacho being thrown in just like that without proper.
With COVID,
Yeah, with COVID, where he's just left to see. There's the city, like you say. There's the mall. There's the groceries. See you at Carrington. Yeah. And I don't think that can help any young player coming into a new country, So
but do you think
that's a bit of a risk. It's a risk by it.
Do you think that he can make an impact on the team straight away? When you look at Mazraoui and Delot, Delot sometimes does all right, I think. I remember with there was a game where Eriksen was getting cut back after cut back on the edge of the box from Delot. He's good. He's got a good left foot for a right footer. I mean, what would we need from Drogu?
He needs to get to that same position, that same byline position for the cutbacks, because that's something that they seem to. When Mount was playing, I know he missed the chances, but there was a lot of cutbacks to that position. What, zone 14? What's the position inside zone 14? That's where the ball was getting cut back to.
To the edge of the D.
Yeah, edge of the D. So I feel that that's what Drogu's he'll be able to offer. The fact that he won't have to cut back. The last few games, Dalot was on that side. He was crossing with his left foot. So that's obviously something that he's looking to do as well. So the fact that he's quick is the advantage that I think we have. Pace, even if you do make the mistake, look at Walker. Walker wasn't always a good defender, but
Walker won nothing till he was 27.
There you go. But his pace when he went to Man City, he ended up going Man City, innit? But his pace gets him out of a lot, a lot of mistakes. So the fact that he's got pace, maybe that's why he has to slide tackle a lot. But I'm hoping he's not slide tackling because he's making a lot of mistakes there, Yeah,
it's go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, I was just going back to the slide tackle comment. Usually you are caught out when you're slide tackling. That means you're chasing back, right? So how's his defensive awareness? That would worry me a bit, Well,
it's not just that, right? I agree with you. So what you're saying is that if you're slide tackling, you're essentially not defending space optimally.
Yeah.
You do get the odd player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka who, that was part of his sort of zonal defending, was he could do those ridiculous tackles, and I just don't understand how he managed to do them all the bloody time. It's crazy. But the thing with sliding, right, is that the Premier League is just so incredibly fast and powerful as a league. We can all agree on that. And a lot of the time you're defending transitions, and your job when you're defending transitions essentially is to try and hold them up so that your team can recover and get back in shape. obviously you get players like Van Dijk, like Ake. Branthwaite's really good at this as well, who can defend out in wide areas, win the ball, recycle, go up the pitch. Casemiro, I hate him for the fact that he slides in transitions, because he takes even numbers defending to -1 and you're absolutely done. So when a player slide tackles now, it makes me think that we're going to get absolutely done on the transition, because it's it's like a zero-sum game. It's either he wins the ball or we're absolutely done. Yeah, and so this is the thing to go to sort of.
Even when he wins the ball, he still gives it away usually for a throw-in.
Yeah, but look, you can defend throw-ins, like unless you're Southampton. And also shout out to Zone 14. Do you remember we talked about Zone 14 about 4 years ago, and I remember Yabba quizzed me on every part of the pitch, and I had to tell him what zone it was.
The numbers.
So, like Zone 17 is where you do the cutbacks from on the left-hand side, all this sort of stuff.
I had to pull it out. Like, I can confess, I had to pull it out. Remember, we spoke about this part time, right?
Do you know what I find really weird, right? Is that there are some ideas that really kind of stick with people, and Zone 14 is one of those things that everyone seems to be able to get their heads around it. Like we've obviously, me and you, Canny, we've got a history of speaking about rest offences. Like it's unreal how many people can't really explain what a rest offence is or what it's for, but everyone knows Zone 14. But for me, I think that if we're getting Dogu in, I think I don't know, because Yoro, he's like the Mbappe centre backs or whatever was said. He hasn't looked good in the last couple of games.
Yeah, but nobody's looked good bath time.
Ahmad has, because he had a loan.
One player.
Mazraoui has been given a steady 7 most of the games he's played.
No one has been given 7s. Mazraoui has gone off a cliff.
Has been.
I think he's tired.
Gone off a cliff.
I think he's tired.
Isn't it just fatigue? Yeah.
I think he's fatigued, man. These players just need rested, man. And
he's
again,
played a lot of
get rid
games.
of the 3 players, then these players are going to be played even more. So yeah, we need players in.
Well, this is my point about Dorgu. Dorgu's 19, isn't he?
Yeah.
Was he 21?
20,
Something like that.
I thought it was 20, yeah.
Yeah, 20. Like, so we've got Yoro, Doku, we've got all these young players coming in. We don't really have a history of like developing players anymore. We have a history of burning out players. Garnacho played in.
I don't think we burn out the players. I don't think we burn out them. I look at what Amorim's done. How much injuries have we had since Amorim's come? Bar Mount, who we just know is going to.
Well, we had Shaw. I think Shaw got injured very quickly, but this is actually something that concerns me about Amorim. Again, is that when Amorim came in, he spoke about like workload and all these things, and the need to rotate players and so on. That's all gone out of the window recently.
Yeah, because he said that he thought he knew what his best team was, didn't he? Basically, he wanted to get everybody to a level where they could play the 90 minutes, because Ahmad wasn't playing full minutes. Yoro was coming on the last 10 minutes from Maguire, 20 minutes from Maguire. Now that their time is set, I think he thought or had hoped that, right, this is going to be my best team, and this is what. And obviously, it hasn't quite gone to that,
Yeah, but I think it's panic stations. Like, do you remember how Ten Hag basically played sort of survival football?
I want him to play survival football, man. I want him to play.
Yeah, but I think he's in survival football.
Yeah.
I think Ugarte and Kobe, he thinks, are his best midfield pairing. Neither of them, I think, are like fit enough to sort of like start games at the moment. Like they definitely need a rest. Like,
so we need a central midfielder.
Well, I mean, he's got Eriksen, who's played before. Who he's got like Casemiro, he's got Collier.
Yeah, he won't play. Collier's the one who I think is going to get game time. There's no way he starts Casemiro. He got burnt in that game. He won't do that again.
No. Collier, you can see he's been getting a few minutes lately, so he's trying to probably get him into. He's looking good. But I just wanted to go real quick to Dogu, the left wing back situation. For me, I think the right move for Manchester right now, or for Amorim, is not to buy a player that young. Is to go and exploit the loan market. Get somebody more mature. Get somebody who is an older, who's played that position. And then because we still
Somebody
are
who's only going
having
to want to be somebody who's going to be here for 6 months and not really going to give a shit and just wants a payday. I'd rather get somebody who knew they're
no,
going
but
to
a
buy.
loan deal is not really much of a payday. It's actually more game time. You're getting somebody that wants to prove themselves because they are
Or
on
just
loan.
Yeah.
That
come
means
to
that
Man United. You think that's to prove themselves or just get out of the club that they're at?
No, no, no. Look at
no.
Igalu. Look at
Look at yeah,
Veghorst. They loved it and they
they
gave
love it.
everything. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Like
and that kind of
they
profile
absolutely
of
loved
player.
it.
Good point. Good
Yeah,
point. To be
yeah.
fair, good point.
Yeah, because they
Good
want to
point.
prove themselves. You're getting a player that's not being played at their parent club. So when they get an opportunity with Manchester, obviously they'll gracefully get it with two hands and they'd want to prove themselves. So to hope for a transfer, they'll play for a transfer. For one to play for to show their old team and to attract Manchester scouts like, hey, I can actually just be signed for this position. So if we can get somebody older with more experience, we have already kids coming in. So if it's the loan, after the summer, we will evaluate the situation. Should we now purchase somebody with attributes that are needed for this position? We already have that Diego Leone coming in, who's also a
Yeah.
kid. Where is he going to fall? So we're gonna buy another Drogo, who's also a kid. It kind of doesn't
I actually
really,
agree with you, Canny.
I never
I
thought of
think
that.
that
I never thought of that one there.
well,
yeah.
you're paying. Look, you're paying £11 for £10 notes in January. We don't have a lot of money. Like Dorgu, I'm now a bit worried that I keep saying his name wrong. Is this a message about Apple Crumble? Yeah.
No, close.
Yeah. We'll make this the last point before we say our goodbyes. I think that like Dorgu, we're going to overpay for him because Lecce are really close to getting relegated, and the offer needs to make sense for them. Like they're not going to be able to get in their top replacement. They're going to be overpaying for their top replacement. I wouldn't mind. I think at the moment a couple of experienced heads coming in who you can just trust. You can trust them to train. They'll turn up for 6 months. They'll love it. They'll see it as an opportunity that maybe to get a permanent transfer, put themselves in the shop window. They'll be motivated. You can get in people that Amorim knows because he was a footballer like 6 or 7 years ago. I kind of agree with you, Canny, on that. That I think that we should be looking at the loan market in January, unless unless an incredible deal turns up, because otherwise we just don't have the money to overpay at the moment. And people always talk about the Manchester United tax. That's a tax that we're paying ourselves. Like we're not getting a bill saying this is the tax. We're handing over 15 quid for something that's worth 10, or nothing in
Or
Anthony's case.
nothing. Absolutely.
One more thing before we do. Stephanie's just what the hell? Malacia.
I'll check.
Is he going out on loan?
Because we've got him in the squad. I mean, what did we pay for him? 15? Do you reckon we can sell
Yeah.
him in January?
No one's going to take him in January. Like for permanent, we might be able to get him on loan.
No point in getting him out on loan. Then, to be fair, is it?
After waiting so long for a surgery, he's been there. We'll be very thin as a squad. What was the point of investing so much into just to send him out on loan?
Well, because it puts him in the shop window and it proves that he is like,
Again.
yeah, he's fit. That he can. Because you got to remember that Malacia, a large part of his injury problems was because he listened to Van Gaal, and Van Gaal said, "Go to the Dutch, doctor." Don't trust them at United. And then the Dutch doctor didn't send the papers through, or something went wrong. And
Van
also,
Gaal
you've
is
got to have
bitter, eh?
Yeah, man, he holds a grudge. I can get behind that. But Steph is saying talking Malacia to Birmingham.
Birmingham?
Yeah, but is this from Lucky Singh, Steph? Because like he's not Fabrizio Romano. I appreciate the question, Jarvis, but Mr. B, for some reason, demands apple crumble at like 10:30 at 11 o'clock at night, and we don't have the time to do this. It's a really good question, but we've got to get Mr. B fed, or he'll go mental. And shout out to Tyrone. That profile picture always makes me laugh.
Tyrone.
Yeah, Tyrone, come on tomorrow night, or come on for the match reaction. We should get Tyrone on. All right, should we end it there, gents?
Yeah.
All right, 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Preview tomorrow. God, that's going to be a late one, isn't it, for a preview? Look, we might sort
Should we just
something out.
skip
We
the
might have to
preview?
do. Well, we've got Rangers. We're not really supposed to be skipping previews, are we? But look, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Half time, we'll deal with it tomorrow, man. Start trying to. We can do what the hell we want, man. So there's no headache.
Exactly. That's
We
what I
don't
said.
need-
Can we
yeah.
skip it? And
Yeah,
what
we
time
don't
are we
need
going to be on?
Yeah, we'll be on at 10 tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be back at 10 tomorrow.
All right.
So yeah.
Callie, where can we find you?
Connie over at Kick TV on YouTube, and right here when I'm invited over is my second home.
Yeah, as long as you follow the dress code.
I did I? I did.
You did. I can't believe it.
I should get a fisherman's hat. I should
Listen,
find one.
Next week, Cammy, we're dressing up as lumberjacks. That might help you.
Yeah.
I'm coming dressed as Mario.
As long as you don't come dressed as that Luigi bloke and get everyone to... Never mind. All right. It's a lack a notch from me.
Like a notch from me.
Like a notch for me.